And we are live. It's only 6 days left before SaaSiest Digital 2022. It's next Tuesday. And we are closing in on 1,500 attendees from almost 800 companies. So don't miss it. And today we are joined by Ian Stendra at Ardoq. So, and he will be speaking in the product track. He's VP of Product at Ardoq, and we'll talk about how your commercial team effed your roadmap, and it's probably your fault. Welcome, Ian.
Thanks, man. Welcome. Good to see you guys.
It's great to have you here, and I think with that title, it's going to be entertaining. But give us a short story about who are you, Ian, and what is Ardoq all about?
Yeah. So, like you said in the intro, I'm leading up the product team now, but I actually joined the team when the two founders started back in 2013. They started in the late of the year, and I started in the early 14, so 6 months after they got going. So basically, those last 8 years have been just kind of the founding dream story, as they say in the blogs, but reality is just ups and downs and peaks and valleys. But we spent the last few years building up a company. We've gone from those 3 guys in a small room to now, I think we're over 200 employees. We're based out of the Nordics, but global offices around the world with a B2B SaaS platform. So kind of in the SaaS space. But I think the interesting part for me in going on the product track is, in those early days, you have so many hats on.
Right.
And a lot of time I spent was definitely on the commercial customer facing side.
So you've been out there selling or what?
Yeah. No, of course. I mean, everybody should be selling in the beginning, right? The CEO and the
yes.
But I led up the selling and then in the start and built the first sales team. And then we hired a real professional salesman to take over that team once it got up to $1 million ARR. And then I built the first CS team, and then we handed that over again after we hit around the 6 or 8 million ARR. And then I built the first product marketing team, and then now rebuilding the product team. So
it sounds a little bit like
what a journey.
You've had also like a COO role or some kind of head of operations. You've had your hands in the cookie jar a little bit everywhere.
I have, but that is actually my buddy Nick.
I know.
He looks exactly like me. He was on stage last year at the SaaSiest conference.
Yeah, you got an amazing team at Ardoq. We've been fortunate to feature a lot of you, both your CEO Eric and Sigrun as well on the marketing side and so on. So we are so happy to be able to have you share your knowledge within the community as one of the SaaS leaders here in the Nordics, and we are really also happy to have a super strong product track this year. It's the first time we do a product track in the digital event. And I know that there will be a lot of product people joining. So it's going to be great.
That's great. I think there's there's been a lot of effort put into the commercial side of SaaS in the Nordics for good reason. But I've also seen that the product environment is quite limited. So it's good to see you guys put some effort to build that up again and build that community, because it's critical for all of the Nordics to really grow.
Yeah, but we are quite well known for making good products in the Nordics, right? It's rather on the commercial side that we are sort of lagging behind the US and so on.
It is, but I think at least from the recruiting aspect, I've seen that the quality of commercial has increased quite a bit in the recent 5 years. But product is definitely kind of small islands. If you dip into Central Europe, I think it's a lot more established. But Stockholm obviously being a stronghold here, but a lot of the other Nordic countries I think are relatively small product communities compared to the growth that we've seen in other areas.
It's a good thing that we're progressing on all elements. And on a side note, in a previous life, I lived in the US and I had an American mentor, and he was like, Dan, this is what you need to know about Americans. We have the best marketeers that will make you believe you need this. Then we put the best salespeople that will make sure you sign on the dotted line. And then when you realize like, oh shit, this is not what I would needed, it's too late because we have the best lawyers in the world. There's no way for you to get out of it.
I think it's true. I've seen kind of the fascination with the American salesman. I mean, I think that's part of the reason why I got the role to begin with.
Right.
But the Norwegian or European dedication to building products is very strong. So it's good to do both.
Yeah. So just I see that we have a few people listening in here, so please put your name in the chat so we can see who's here, and also if you do that, you have the chance to win one of these nice
Foxy baseball
caps.
hats.
Exactly. So we'll do a raffle a little bit later in the session today, but it would also be great just to know who's here and wish you a great day. Happy that you are with us. And of course, our man Alexander is here. He's, yeah, I don't know how you do it, but we are happy to see you here every day.
Hall of Famer, LinkedIn Hall of Famer.
Absolutely.
So, Ian, would you love to have one of these hats as well? Leading
I mean,
question.
I remember our last conversation. You said you're sending one to me, but you know,
we're sending one to you. We have to send one to you.
It was Nick that. I'm just kidding. No, but anyway, talking about product and. Is there any particular roles that is hard to fill? People that is hard to find within product? Would you say here in the Nordics?
Yeah, absolutely. I think experienced product managers within SaaS is quite challenging. There's a lot of product management happening in telecom and industry and other things like that under different definitions of product management, but. The actual SaaS environment, I think, is relatively small compared to the total population, and the number of product managers, or at least kind of modern product managers, is quite low.
Right. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about your particular track at our session. You know, for the people listening to this LinkedIn Live show here, what can they expect?
Right. So, I mean, obviously, a little clickbaity.
Is there any other way?
Any other way? But I mean, the point really was a bit of, reflection for the product people. I've talked to a lot of product people moving into this role over the last few years, and it's surprising how many have a really dysfunctional relationship with their commercial partners. And a lot of times it's kind of like they're running at a different game and different pace. So the commercial teams are pressured by quotas and speed to hit this next quarter, while product is charged with both trying to help deliver that commercial success, but also think long-term. And I think that's really made kind of a cat and dog type relationship in some organizations. And my reflection in moving into product was that they're actually very, very similar roles when done correctly. A poor salesman will always be a poor salesman, and a poor product leader will always be a poor product leader. But
and there's no lawyer that can help you out of that.
Yeah, exactly. Just get a good lawyer and you'll be good to go. But the best salespeople that you meet, and especially in SaaS, are great for product teams. They really understand customer problems. They're not pushing features. They're not pushing, your roadmap to a point where you're breaking. And they're a huge source of both information for you to build the right thing, but also championing your vision and roadmap, which is fantastic. So it's shocking how many people have dysfunctional relationships. And I wonder, does it start at the CEO or the board and their focus on sales versus longevity of the company? Or if it's a sales culture or what, but for some reason, this is a recurring event that I've seen a lot.
Right. And will you throw in some suggestions here for possible mitigations and fixes?
Absolutely. So the idea here is to highlight a couple points where you can really find a common standing ground to really build that relationship up and show each other that, hey, we're both actually after the same thing here.
Right.
That's step one. And then, give them some tools that we've used in order to help that communication, because there is definitely a vocabulary difference between the two organizations. But really they're doing a lot of the same work. So having the right tools in place so you can kind of ensure that you guys are following along the same track is critical.
Right. And what I'm hearing here as well is like, this is in the product track, the session. So obviously pertaining to all product related folks, but it also pertains to all commercial folks that potentially might feel that they have a gap with their product teams.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. Again, I'd hope that it reaches both people. I'm going to try to approach this from a product point so that they can be the one with the open hand and the olive branch. Yeah. But I think it's equally important for both aspects to have this in place.
And we're also joined by Almir. Hi, nice to see you. Where are you from? Maybe you could, I'm not remembering exactly what company you're from or what country, but nice to have you here as well. So Ian, what is top of mind for you right now in general?
I mean, the most pressing thing for me is hiring and building a team.
Okay.
That's absolutely top of mind for Ardoq, and as we grow and as the product team really gets doubled down. But on the more global aspect, or the more bigger picture thing, I think trying to really understand how SaaS is going to become such a critical point in the Nordics economy, I think is a very interesting thing. It's a challenging shift. The Nordics have a long history of different industry growth, but SaaS is something that's getting more and more speed in different areas. We see kind of different maturity levels between Stockholm and Norway, for example. Right. So that's kind of something that, on a more personal interest, I'm helping focus on.
Yeah, and we see those we see that evolution as well. That maybe back in the days it was Stockholm being that hub, but we've seen Copenhagen coming up really well. Our Finnish friends have always had great products, but they maybe also have suffered from like working a little bit in the dark, literally, I suppose sometimes. But we feel that across all 5 Nordic countries, including Iceland, there's a lot of good stuff happening.
There is, absolutely. It's exciting.
Yeah. So last chance here, if anyone else wants to join the raffle, we have Ian here, our dear guest. We have Alexandru, the Hall of Famer, and we have Almir joining us maybe for the first time. We will do the raffle in just 30 seconds, and what you can win is one of these caps. Don't miss it. It's not that many. Okay, let's do it. You had your chance, and here we go.
Feel bad now that my name's on that list. All right, good.
All right. We have our man Almir here.
Oh,
welcome.
Congratulations.
So, what you should do is send me a DM with your full address and phone number, and we will make sure that you will get one of these babies. So,
and if there's no picture proof, it never happens. So we want to see you in your baseball hat. Post it, share it with us, tag us, so we can see that it's actually happening.
Yeah, thank you for joining us today, Ian. Looking forward to your session. And thank you for everyone else that tuned in. See you around. We'll be back at 4 p.m. today.